So the AP poll dropped this week, but before you get too excited, if your team is ranked in the top 10, let me remind you that last year, Clemson, LSU, and Penn State were all ranked in the top 10 and all finished the season unranked. In this video, we're going to talk about my top 5 overrated teams in college football heading into 2026. Let's get it started with number 5, Notre Dame. And I'm not here to tell you Notre Dame's not a good team. I'm not here to tell you that they're not going to make the playoffs, but all the hype surrounding this team, I want to let's get real about Notre Dame. Why don't we? Phil Steele has Notre Dame ranked as his top ranked team in the country, winning the national championship. And I could see why somebody would put them so highly up in the rankings. But I want to point out that Marcus Freeman gets a pass. And I'm going to tell you something that you probably aren't aware of. In the Freeman era, Notre Dame has lost their home opener in 3 of 4 seasons. And we will give them a pass for losing by 1 point to Texas A&M last year. However, the previous 2 losses in their home opener came against Marshall and Northern Illinois. They were a double-digit favorite in each of those games. Other coaches that lose games like that, the fan base, the media tends to hold it against him, but for some reason, we give Marcus Freeman a pass. I'm not saying Freeman's a bad coach, but I will tell you, they opened the season at home against Wisconsin and Luke Fickell, and there will be some big underdogs that upset their opponents in week 1. I'm circling this game. I'm putting Notre Dame on upset alert, and the regular season win total at most books sits at 11.5, which means they've got to run the table in the regular season to hit that number. It is heavily juiced to the under, but they have a road game at BYU and a home game against Miami. I don't think they're winning both of those games. I'm going to say that right now. So Notre Dame comes into the season as my number 5 most overrated team. Number 4, another shocker that people probably aren't expecting, Texas. They're ranked number 5 in the polls. They're the co-favorite to win the SEC, but the schedule is daunting. Ohio State non-conference. They got Oklahoma and Ole Miss and road games at Texas A&M, LSU. And when it comes right down to it, Texas is absolutely loaded, but they're playing other teams in the SEC. And when you compare the quarterback and the head coach combination, Steve Sarkisian, good coach, what does he win? He tends to lose the big games. Arch Manning, talent, big name. Did you see him against Ohio State last year? He looked like a deer in the headlights. I don't know that I want to pick Texas as a favorite to win the SEC. And I don't think this team will make the playoffs based on their schedule. I think they've got too many games that are going to be tough to win on their schedule. So I think this is an 8-9 win Texas team at best. Number 3, UNLV. They're not ranked in the top 25, but they're the co-favorite to win the Mountain West. And it's a watered-down Mountain West this year. Some of the big teams have left. Boise State, Fresno State, go to the Pac-12. What I don't like about UNLV, first of all, Dan Mullen. Is he a good coach? He's had some exciting teams. He's an experienced coach. He's had some decent jobs in the past. Hasn't really won anything, and his defenses tend to be pretty poor, and his defense last year was pretty poor. Is that going to change this season? And then you look at the quarterback situation. Word out of the UNLV camp is that Jackson Arnold, the quarterback they brought in to be the starter, failed to win the starting job, and it's going to be Alex Orji as the starter. And to me, Jackson Arnold and Alex Orji are 2 options that I don't consider to be very good options. And then if you look at their schedule, the other contenders in the Mountain West, Hawaii and New Mexico, UNLV has to play those teams both on the road. So the schedule is not doing them any favors. They open the season in week 0 against Memphis. I think Memphis is a team that's underrated. I think that's a tricky game for them to win. So I think a lot of people are hyping up UNLV as a potential playoff team. I'm not seeing it. Before we talk about my number 2 and number 1 overrated team in 2026, please allow me to tell you about a few promotions we have available for the football season here at WagerTalk. Let's get it started with NFL preseason. I swept the board with the preseason last year, went 6-0, number one at WagerTalk. I went on to sweep the board in week one, 4-0 showing in week one of the regular season. So I won my first 10 NFL bets of last season. For a limited time, the good folks at WagerTalk are offering the preseason 100% free with the purchase of the regular season first month, $179 at regular price. Grab that while you still can. wt.buzz/JS. Some programming information. We all know that I have some strong opinions when it comes to football. And Carmine Bianco, he's got some big brass balls. He wants to go to head with me once a week. We're both going to pick 3 games in the NFL. We're going to state our case, see who comes out on top. We'll be doing a weekly show on WagerTalk TV. And the good folks at WagerTalk are offering a full season NFL package, 2 for 1. Buy one, get one free. Myself and Carmine Bianco for the full season, $899. Grab that at WagerTalk. Now let's get into the number 2 and number 1 most overrated teams heading into 2026. Let's start with the Virginia Cavaliers. And Virginia was a big team for me last year. I was on Virginia a few times as an underdog, getting the big upset. It started out, the first big bet I had on Virginia was against Florida State. And here's a screenshot of me talking to my man, Nick Parsons. Virginia, plus 225 on the money line. On this show, I gave them out on the money line. I didn't say take the points. I said take them to win the game outright. And sure enough, they did. Virginia won 11 games last year. And I just find it hard to believe that they're not going to be overrated based on that performance last season. It's a new season. They're going to have a new quarterback. They got a little bit fortunate in a lot of games last year, including that game against Florida State. They won 4 games in overtime. And the quarterback they're bringing in, Bo Pribula, I'm not a big fan of Bo Pribula. Remember, he's the one that left Penn State in the middle of the playoffs. He was effective doing what they wanted him to do at Missouri, but he doesn't have a great arm, not a great passer. He's obviously a threat in the running game, but I don't see Virginia living up to what they did last season. And the number 1 overrated team heading into 2026, this is another shocker. People aren't going to like this. LSU. Lane Kiffin, $91 million contract to leave Ole Miss in the middle of the playoffs. But guess what? Pete Golding has 2 playoff wins. Lane Kiffin has none. $91 million for his contract. He's got an unlimited war chest to go out and buy players. And he goes and buys Sam Leavitt, the starting quarterback for Ole Miss this year. And Leavitt is a good quarterback. I'm not here to trash Sam Leavitt, but if I had an unlimited bankroll to buy a quarterback, I don't think he would be my first choice, particularly coming off a serious foot injury that caused him to miss several games last season. I did a little bit of research on that injury, and what I came up with, some of the results in the search engines suggest that elite athletes that suffer that particular injury recover to 100% effective 70 to 80% of the time. That might sound good, but that's 20 to 30% chance that he's not going to be as good as he was prior to that injury. The symptoms include lack of explosiveness, lack of flexibility, and perhaps increased risk of a compensatory injury because of that lack of flexibility. You could get an injury on the other foot. So that none of that sounds very good. At the end of the day, Lane Kiffin had a lot of success at Ole Miss with a very manageable schedule. Well, he's going to have to battle a real SEC schedule here at LSU. I just don't see Lane Kiffin coming in here, splashing a bunch of money around and rolling through the SEC in year 1. So I think the hype is not quite warranted for LSU. I have them as the most overrated team heading into 2026. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you've got anything to say to me, even if it's nasty, hit me up in the comments below and I will get back to you as soon as I can.